Hi, everybody. This is Tamiya Robles. I am a credit repair expert. I am the owner of FixMyCreditNearly50.com. I am the host of this podcast, Coast to Coast Credit, where I talk anything and everything ever pertaining to credit, whether it's directly or indirectly, whether it's for personal credit or business credit. Welcome, welcome. So, right now, we're going to actually go into a four-part episode on collections, what exactly they are, how they're supposed to be on your credit report, how to remove them from your credit report. So, we're going to go deep into this. And the reason why I wanted to go into this is because obviously, we all, those that are trying to fix our credit, we practically all of us have had collection accounts at some point. You're going to hear in these episodes some of these collection agencies that are very, very popular. You might have come across them even currently now in the past. And some of them are just really hard to get off for some of y'all. And I'll go into exactly why that is. So, first, let me show you guys something that I pulled up. I wanted to first explain exactly what collections are, what they mean, straight from the government's mouth. Okay, straight from the source. So I found this online. So this is the Fair Credit Reporting Act, FCRA, and the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, FDCPA. Now, these companies regulate the rules when it comes to collection agencies and how they're supposed to move. Now, when you go to this website, you will be able to see that they're addressing medical debt. However, this applies to all collection accounts for the most part. I'm jumping ahead, but I want to share another portion of their site where they're basically explaining, per the FDCPA, again, Fair Debt Collection Practices, what types of debt they're referring to. So, and what their purpose is. So, for example, I am going to actually read a lot of this stuff. I'm not going to read everything, but this time I'm probably going to read like 80% of what's on here, just so we're all clear. So, purpose, it's under, I guess this is code 15 USC 1692. Purpose prohibits debt collectors from using abusive, unfair, or deceptive practices to collect from consumers if they are behind in paying their bills, or to a creditor's records mistakenly makes it appear to that they are. Okay, I'm gonna say that again because I didn't roll off the tongue correctly. So this particular section, the 15 USC 1692, their purpose is to prohibit debt collectors from using abusive, unfair, or deceptive practices to collect from consumers if they're behind in paying their bills, or a creditor's records mistakenly makes it appear that they are. Okay. Now, a debt collector. A debt collector is someone who regularly collects debt owed to others, includes collection agencies, lawyers who collect debt on a regular basis, and companies that buy delinquent debts and then try to collect them. Types of debt: personal, family, and household debt, which includes money consumers owe on a personal credit card account, medical bill, mortgage, and auto loan. All right. So now that we have the facts, we're going to go jump right into other additional acts and definitions. So, under the FCRA, Fair Credit Reporting Act, their purpose is to protect the privacy of credit report information and to guarantee, and we're going to pay attention to keywords as we go through these episodes, okay? But pay attention because we need them when we're talking about disputing and violations. Like, keywords are very important when it comes to your credit, right? But it says to guarantee that information supplied by consumer reporting agencies, which are CRAs, you're going to see that abbreviation a lot, is as accurate as possible. So the FCRA, their purpose is to regulate, to make sure, to guarantee the consumer's privacy and that the information is accurate. Accurate. So this is major because the majority of the information that is reporting on all of our credit reports, 99.9% of the time is inaccurate. And that is why you guys hire me, or you want to do it yourself. You're disputing, if you're a factual disputer such as myself, you're disputing the information that is inaccurate, and that's violating your rights under the FCRA. Now, consumer reporting agencies, which is CRAs, that's the abbreviation. So when we go through this, you can see CRAs, that's what they're talking about. Databases such as credit bureaus, medical information services, check verification services that collect information to help businesses evaluate consumers. These are considered consumer reporting agencies, and I just did a video on all the 63 credit reporting agencies that a lot of us didn't even know existed, including myself. That's what the CRAs are, and that's what I did a video on. So I'll click that, I'll attach that to this video at the end in case you want to check that out. Now, furnishers, and you see they have this in quotations, is information providers who report information about consumers to a CRA. So regular furnishers, which is in quotations, furnishers are who provide information to the CRAs, quote unquote, regularly and in the ordinary course of their business. All right. Again, always check out the keywords. So we're going to go into the responsibility of the furnishers. Okay. Now, this is giving a whole complete breakdown on collection agencies and what their job is supposed to, the credit agencies, the furnishers, what their job is for the most part, with what their responsibilities are under this particular section. Each section of the FCRA, as you can see, is covering specific subjects, and this is what we're going over. So the responsibilities per section 623 of the FCRA, 15 USC 1681 S-2. So general prohibition on reporting inaccurate information under this section. Okay, section 623. I'm not going to read all that. I'm going to just get to the facts just at the same time. All right, cool. So now under the FCRA, which is again the Fair Credit Reporting Act, we're going to go over the responsibility of the furnishers. So if you're watching this on YouTube or watching a video, you're going to see in particular the sections. So I'm not going to keep reading each section. Again, if you want to check this out on your own, go to the website, and I will also post the link so you can see this as well. But the responsibility of the furniture, for one, is you may not furnish information that you know or consciously avoid knowing is inaccurate. Okay. The exemption, if you clearly and conspicuously provide consumers with an address for dispute notices, still subject to duties after notice of a consumer dispute for a consumer. In a nutshell, they cannot put out information or put information on your report, create information knowing that it's wrong. In a nutshell. Okay. Now, correcting and updating the information. So correct incomplete or inaccurate information subject to each CRA and report only correct information in the future. So basically, the responsibility of these furnishers or these creditors, whatever you want to call it, companies, agencies, whatever, when they create your information, it's supposed to be 100% accurate. When they send it out to the credit bureau, it's supposed to be 100% accurate. When it goes into dispute, or if they, for whatever reason, find out that the information that they have is wrong, then it's their responsibility to correct the information, to make it accurate, and report it as such moving on into the future. This is a problem. This is what I'm fighting on your behalf. This is what my letters are about. And when I dispute and when I have dispute letters, this is the verbiage that I bring up. If you ever get a copy of the dispute letters that I'm sending on your behalf, you will see this type of verbiage. You'll see sections that I'm referring to in my dispute letter. Again, under the FCRA, notice of a consumer dispute from a consumer. So you guys are the consumer, just so we're clear. All right. Once you have notice of a consumer dispute, you may not give that information to any CRA without also telling the CRA that the information is in dispute. So basically, when you file a dispute, when I file on your behalf, or if you're doing it yourself, once that company is aware, they cannot give any information to any other CRA without telling them, yo, this account's in dispute. So when you check in your credit report and you pull it and you notice that they do not say that it's in dispute, that's a violation of your rights under the FCRA. The account should be deleted because of that, because they did not follow these guidelines under the FCRA. So if information is inaccurate, report only the correct information to the CRAs in the future. So this is what they have to go by when you are disputing, or when your account is in dispute, or if you have me at fixmycreditnow850.com disputing on your behalf. Now, notice from a consumer reporting agency. This is under section 623B. Investigate the dispute and review all relevant information provided by the FCRA about the dispute. Report your findings to the report your findings to the CRA. Provide any corrected information to all national CRAs that receive the information. So basically, you're the consumer and you file a dispute. They have to report to all the CRAs, hey, this consumer filed a dispute. This is now in dispute status. So now that means they have to do their investigation based off of the information that you provide. Now, the information and proof that you provide could be various things. It could be a letter. So I know, as a credit repair expert, what I like to do to show proof. I take a snippet of the person's credit report and then I put it in my dispute letters, and I also add arrows, lines. It kind of looks like a teacher grading a paper with that red pen, and I'm just pointing out all the inaccuracies and all the violations on that account. That is proof right there. That's something that you can use. And it's their job to review it, to investigate the dispute, and take that and accept that as proof of an inaccuracy. Once they're done, they're supposed to report their findings to the CRA. Again, these are the major credit bureaus. The main ones: Experian, Equifax, TransUnion, Innovis, if anybody knows about Innovis. Provide any corrected information to all national CRAs that receive that information. So whoever had this information, they have to give them the update. So not every company is going to report to all credit bureaus. Some report to just the 3Bs. Some report to just one bureau. Maybe it's just TransUnion, just Experian, just Equifax. Some don't even report to the main three. They might report to just LexisNexis, or they might report to SageStream, or depending on the situation, maybe they only want to report to CheckSystem and that's it. So whoever they reported it to and the dispute has been completed, they have to provide the corrected information under the FCRA to them. And if they do not, again, this is a violation of your rights under the FCRA. So the next one is, again, we're still under the FCRA. Notice from a consumer reporting agency. Okay. So the time period for the FCRA to resolve the dispute, it normally takes 30 days. If more information is provided, they're given another 15 days. Okay. So during the pandemic, it was 30 days, but the credit bureaus, the whole world was a mess, as we all know, but there were people that were getting sick, people that were passing away, company layoffs. That was also happening with the credit bureaus, believe it or not. And because of that, they were not able to effectively complete investigations and address these these companies and the disputes and the consumer. They couldn't address it in a timely fashion. Some of the credit bureaus, some of their locations were even shut down for, I think, close to a year, if not longer. So they didn't have the people anymore. So they went to Congress and asked for more time. They did get approved for an additional 15 more days. So instead of 30 days, it was 45 days during the pandemic. And then I do believe they went back to 30 days now. But in this case, let's say we're out of the pandemic, things are flowing better now, and they're saying normally it takes them 30 days after receipt of a dispute notice to complete their investigation. But 15 days more can be added on if the consumer, if you're giving them more information during that time, which is fine. That's respectable. The CRA must give you all relevant information that it gets within 5 business days of a report. If you do not investigate and respond within the specified time periods, the CRA must delete the disputed information from its files. So, I spoke to someone recently who was talking about whether or not they should dispute with the credit bureaus and use certified mail. And I say I personally don't, and I get amazing results. It's totally up to you, and this is your choice. But the reason why a lot of people do is because they want to know the date that the CRAs receive their dispute letters. And that's when they start the 30-day clock. And it's been done forever. Sometimes if you are doing your own disputes, what you might want to do is put in the letter, here's the tracking number. And it's, in case you don't know, it's really simple to get those certified tapes, and it has a tracking number on there. So you just take that tracking number and you put it in your dispute letter, letting the bureaus know, like, hey, I have tracked this and this is the tracking number. Yeah, I'm counting now, right? And then you just send it off. Again, I personally don't do it that way. I get amazing results. The only reason why I don't do that is because the credit bureaus are shady. Whether you give them a tracking number or not, they're going to do what they want, when they want, how they want. I know they got the letter. You know they got the letter. It didn't get returned back to me. Like, we're not going to play games here. I can estimate how long it takes for you to get my letters. I can estimate how, among all of the letters that you get in a day, about how quickly you're going to get mine, right? And then I give you about 30 days. So I'm not playing these games, right, where I'm doing it. But again, to each his own, whichever works for you. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's how I look at it. So if it works for you, go ahead. But this is why people do that. They are counting the 30 days. Okay. I don't know too many people that are aware that if they send additional information to the credit bureaus during the dispute process, that they actually have an additional 15 days. The company has additional 15 days to do their investigation. I don't think too many people know about that, but now you know. Now, the CRA must give you all relevant information that it gets within 5 days, business days of receipt. If you do not investigate and respond within the specified time periods, the CRA must delete, and dispute information from its files. So, yeah, again, that's one of the beauties of putting the tracking number in the dispute letter. I'm going to tell you, just real rap, between me, you, and the lamppost, in all actuality, they will still keep it on there. I mean, you could prove, there's so much you can prove to the credit bureau. You can literally show them everything that's wrong, all the violations, and you know what? They'll act like they have no idea who you are. So, these are the rules. And as many of you guys know, they don't play by the rules. So there's certain things I don't get hung up on, and this is one of them. I tried to play this game early on when I was a new credit repair expert, and I noticed there wasn't that's not what was causing me to get deletions. And now that I know what's causing me to get deletions, I just rock out with that and just use that all the time. All right. But yeah, this is just the facts. This is just the information. Now, reporting voluntary account closings, it is the company's job, the furniture, the whatever you want to call them, the debt collector, the agency, what have you, is their job to report to the CRAs when you close out the account. So let's say, for example, you had an Amex card and you decided that you wanted to pay off the card completely and shut it down. They have to report that. If they don't, that's a violation of your rights. Okay. Now, reporting delinquencies. This is the kicker. This is the kicker. This is the kicker. If you ain't listening to shit this whole time, because my voice is so soothing and monotone today. Listen to this, okay? So, reporting delinquencies under Section 623A5 within 90 days after you report information about a delinquent account that is placed for collection, charged to profit or loss, or subject to any similar action, notify the CRA of the month and the year of commencement of the delinquency that immediately preceded your action. This is supposed to hold the furnisher accountable right here. Like this right here. Again, if you want to take some of these sections when you're disputing, or if you're disputing on your own and you're creating your own letters, use this. You're throwing it in their face, especially if you are disputing directly with the collector or the original company or the creditor, whomever, whichever furnisher. Use this, because this is telling the whole thing is magnificent. I mean, I've read a lot of stuff pertaining to credit, and I love how this is broken down, how it's clear, how it's itemized, and it's visually appeasing, which makes me want to keep reading. I love it. But this, you take this and you put it in your dispute letter if you're especially going to dispute with the original or the creditor or whatever, because it's putting their feet to the fire. You have 90 days after you report this information. Boom, 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 about this delinquent account. Okay. If it's placed in collections, a charge off, profit, all of that, profit or loss, all of that. Okay. You have to notify the CRA of the month and year of the delinquency. The month and year of the delinquency. And again, pay attention to keywords, because a lot of times they don't do that. They don't do that. Okay, so we already talked about this purpose debt collector types of debt. I talked about that in the beginning. I jumped the gun intentionally. Now, we're going to talk about communication, time and place. A debt collector may not contact consumers at inconvenient times or places. So usually that's outside of business hours. Okay. Collectors may not contact consumers at work. Boom. I have a story about that. I will do a story time on that. Okay. Collectors may not contact consumers at work if they are told orally or in writing that they are not allowed to get calls there. Now, I'm going to save it for my little story time or whatever. But here's the tea. A debt collector, I'm sure all of y'all have experienced this. They don't care what you have to say. They don't care what you want to say. I love writing and disputing and sending letters, because I have a paper trail. I can make a copy, right? And if I need to sue y'all asses, I have a paper trail. If I'm saying something over the phone, it is so tricky as far as me recording, you recording me, we recording each other. Every state has its own laws. Now, a collection agency can say, you never told us this. You never told us that you couldn't accept phone calls during this time. That was bananas, right? Because they always say, oh, this call is being recorded. But it's being recorded until I sue you, then you can't find it. You dig me? Like, I'm not feeling that. So in my opinion, do you, if you want to be lazy and just trust the people that's hurting you and assume they're recording everything, that's your business. Okay. But I strongly recommend that you dispute and you say some shit in writing. Yo, stop. I can't accept phone calls from companies at my place of business during these times. I'm at work, right? Boom. So they can't say they didn't know, whatever, right? Ceasing contact. If consumers decide they do not want the collector to contact them, they may tell the collector in writing to stop contacting them. Now, I have heard many people, I've done it myself back in the day, say, don't call me, don't call me, don't call me, right? And then what do they say? When they keep, you didn't tell me not to call you. You didn't, I don't see anything in the note saying not to call you. They play games. So yeah, put that in writing. Who are you again? What company? Right. Don't contact me anymore. And if they continue to do so, lawsuit. Okay. Lawsuit. Contacting others, attorney representing consumers about the debt. Third parties, collectors may obtain a consumer's address, home, phone number, and where the consumer works from other people. Notice, a collector must send consumers a written validation notice within 5 days after they contact them. The notice must include how much money they owe, the names of the creditors, and how to proceed if they don't think they owe money. All right. So take heed to that. That's the communication. That's the communication of it all. Now, prohibited conduct. Prohibited. There should be no harassment or abuse. I'm gonna tell you, when you hear my little story time, I got harassed. I got harassed. I'm not even. I'm not even going to tell y'all right now, but it was crazy. It's bananas. I actually forgot all about it. So I read this. I totally forgot about it. I think I was mentally traumatized, and I was like, let me erase that out my memory. But anywho, false statements. You know they gonna lie to you all the time. They even send you a letter when you're disputing with the the collection agencies and the creditors and all of that, and you send them a direct letter and you have all your information, all your ducks in a row, and your letters are banging and amazing, and you swear they're going to acknowledge the fact that they fucked you over on your credit report. They send a letter in response like, who are you? We don't know you, blah blah blah. You're lying. You're lying. You know how I know you're lying? Because how did you get my name and address to send me the letter in the first place? That's false information. That's a false statement. You know who the fuck I am. I said it in my letters. Recognize that. Right now, that may seem petty. That you might be like, well, Tamiya, that's not really enough to really be considered a false statement. Why not? Is it true that you're saying you don't know me as you're writing to me at my house and saying my first, middle, and last name, and that you're calling me on my phone number? It's false information. So just like they want to be petty, you be petty. You sit there and list each and every inaccuracy, violation, whether it's something tiny. I don't care if they're off by a day. I don't care if they're off by a penny. These are violations. And if it's supposed to be 100% accurate and it's wrong, then it shouldn't be on your credit report. So that's a violation. And I feel this is included in a false statement. All right. And I'm going to bring it up. Misleading, misrepresentations, and unfair practices. Again, we know about these things. Multiple debts. If a debt collector is trying to collect more than one debt from a consumer, the collector must apply any payment the consumer makes to the debt to the consumer select. Okay. A debt collector may not apply a payment to a debt the consumer doesn't think he or she owes. That's also huge because, again, I deal with that all the time. I have a new client, a brand new client who I read something to her and I'm like, yeah, this is on your credit report. And she said, I have no idea who that is. Like, legit, I'm not lying. I don't know. I've never heard of them people. And that happens often where they just attack low key, like they're attaching a debt to you and you never heard it. That's not unusual. That's not unusual. This happens. Okay. Now, the FDCPA, Fair Debt Collection Practices Enforcement. So the FTC enforces this. All right. In the Academy Collection Services, they were a company and its principal paid, it says $2.25. We're going to get into that in a second because I do believe that is a typo and I got y'all. But in Academy Collection Services, they were a company and its principal paid $2.25 million to resolve charges of violating the FDCPA. Okay, so basically there's hope. Like, don't I tell y'all all the time when I do y'all consultations and I'm disputing, you guys are starting to slowly but surely hear me. Sue these people. I'm not going through this podcast, these episodes. I'm not creating this for fun, y'all. I'm creating it because, one, y'all need to get your credit fixed so you can have the financial freedom that you deserve. In the process, you were hurt and having these violations on your credit report just like those companies were reaping financial benefits, you can do the same. Sue them people. Stop disputing online because you're mad lazy. Stop going to Credit Karma and going clickety click, 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 because now you can't sue. Now you can't motherfucking sue. Now, civil liability, individual action, class action suits. Now you know what's up with that. For example, Wells Fargo is always fucking having these fucking class action suits. Be a part of that. You understand? But let me go back to the Academy Collection Services. Believe it or not, I did my little research. Boom. This is where we're at. You see it. You see it. When I did my research just to prove to y'all I was not lying, it was not $2.25. It was $2.25 million that they had to settle. So Nationwide Debt Collector will pay $2.25 million to settle FTC charges. Now, mind you, this is old, but I'm letting you know, and they're letting you know, and I'm following the guidelines that they laid out so you can see. The Academy Collection Service Incorporated and its owner, Keith Dixteen. Okay, that's what she said. Have agreed to pay $2.25 million to settle FTC charges that the Academy and its collectors misled, threatened, and harassed consumers. All right. They disclosed their debts to third parties and deposited post-dated checks early in violation of the federal law. Boom. This is the largest civil penalty the FTC has obtained in a debt collection case. Come on, y'all. It is time to take action and start suing these people. All right. And at the end, this is the website. If you have any questions, this guy works for the government. All right. So yeah. I hopefully this was a very thorough, detailed breakdown of collections and collection accounts and the responsibilities and so on and so forth, and what their job is, what their obligations are. Hopefully this definitely helped out. Now, what I would say is, if you want to know what are the major collection agencies out here on these streets, you got to check out the next video.